Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Awakening with Lindley Rose. I am here with Jessica Rueger, my friend, coach, author, speaker, and guide, and we're going to be having a conversation. I'm going to be sharing my reflections on week 2 of my Paris adventure. And so, thank you for being here, Jessica.
You're welcome. It's always exciting to be the one that gets to check in live with you, record it, and hear your adventures firsthand. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love our conversations and what you bring to them. So, yeah, I mean, this has been a really big week for me. And last week was really about feeling like I was getting to know the area. I was discovering what is it like to live here. And I was feeling this compulsion to like hide myself and to just put on a straight face and be serious and just go with the flow and not want to be seen. After that episode and the following conversation we also had that was a few hours longer than the episode. And that morning I had had this shift as I was walking out the door in how I'm showing up. I proceeded to really embody that feeling of I get to be me. And it's not about being, it wasn't about being seen, but it was about I don't need to hide my energy. I don't need to suppress myself anymore. It was like, it wasn't about showing up a certain way. It was really just about letting go of what was holding me back from just being my natural state of being, my natural self. So, yeah, it was really profound for me. And I realized I was able to get into the vibe that I had found myself in. And I had done a lot of work to connect with myself over the years. And when I was living in Charleston, I was really just in this place of connecting to pleasure within me, around me, feeling good in the world, recognizing that circumstances were just what was happening around me. They didn't have to determine my internal state. And I let myself really get into this feeling of enjoyment with life, even when things were up in the air and I didn't know where I was going to live, and things were really crashing down at certain points, financially at certain times. But just this is all a game. I can actually enjoy this moment. I don't need to feel like a victim here and just shifting my energy. And it was that state of being that I was able to bring back here of just walking into the city and just feeling connected to pleasure in my whole body and letting that move through me and feeling the warmth radiate from me and connecting with other people on the metro and smiling at them and then seeing them smile back. There was one woman where I decided to wear a dress for the first time. I hadn't worn this one dress yet, and it was kind of like a little bit fancier than normal. And I decided I'm going to go to Sacré-Cœur, the Sacred Heart Basilica, and I was going to go on this adventure of just like my own little time, just, exploring that area of the city. And I was on the metro and I had just gotten ready, and this woman sat down and she was open to me. And that doesn't always happen. Most people are pretty closed. But she looked at me and I smiled at her, just a natural smile. And she said in French, "You're looking so elegant today." And I was so proud of myself that I actually understood her. And I said, "Merci." And I just smiled. And that kind of stuff has been happening where people are having a positive response to me, certain people that are open. And I'm able to then also like share my light with them. And so it's like this thing that's happening between us. We're connecting here and there. So yeah.
Synergy.
Yeah.
And your openness invited her into her openness. Like if this had
Hmm.
happened a week ago, imagine how differently it could have gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had nothing holding me back this time. It was just, I'm just here to be me, and that self is a person who is happy. And I've haven't always been like that, but really for me, my journey has been about getting out of my insecurities because my mind used to be just full of insecurities and just thinking people are going to think something of me and just how do I look? Really putting myself in other people's view and criticizing myself, a lot of self-judgment. That's just really how I felt teens, young adult years. And so it really has just been about taking that away. And then what's there? It's just this light that just wants to live and connect. And also, I know it's not just me who is that light, it's everyone. And if we all got out of our heads and all let go of maybe you think you have a sarcastic personality or you're, like this hard, like shell, but it's because there's literally a hard shell around your light. That's who you think you are. It's a covering around your light, but it's not actually who you are. And if you just let go of that personality that you think is you, you will realize that it's all just protecting you. It's not really the truth of who you are inside your being, your light, who you are when you're young, when you're a kid, when you just run around, you see the light in kids' eyes. And if you look at a picture of yourself, anyone who's listening, when you're a kid, that's it. That's actually what I first connected with when I went through this journey of really finding my light. It was looking at pictures of me when I was a kid and remembering that's still in me. That's still me. That light, that curiosity. I can actually still connect with that part of me without all the layers of self-doubt and self-hatred and just all this stuff that I had just layered on around my light. So, yeah, it's
So
very
much
different.
access to
Yeah.
the truth. And I think we all have some spectrum of that. I mean, I know myself included is just conforming to what we think we have to show up as. It's like the blind leading the blind, and then we become blind and don't realize.
Yeah, totally it. You're just trying to fit in. When you're a teen, you start noticing around, like, how do I fit in? And that's when it starts. And then you start being self-conscious, and then you start suppressing your light.
We
Yeah.
forsake our truth to fit in. We abandon ourself, reject our truth in order to be fit in, basically giving all of our power over to this entity collective and then demanding they approve of us. Or
Yeah.
who's going to approve of me now? You guys, I just gave you all I got.
Yeah. That is the shift. It's I used to go from, well, what do you want from me? What can I give you? Even when I started on this journey, I wanted to really show up and be in service of people and be someone that could help others, right? I have that desire. I want to help people like so many of us do, right? And then I would go into, well, what do you want from me? What can I give you? And what I learned is that there was no one outside myself that could answer that question. As much as I wanted to find the answer outside of myself and just ask, and I've had clients who will ask me questions about themselves, and I'm just like, it's a trap. If you fall into that, it's not outside yourself. It's actually inside. You're the only one. And we get to those answers by meeting ourselves, by spending time with ourselves, by opening the door, knocking on the door of our inner self and saying, "Hey, can I come in? Can we just have tea for a minute? Let's spend some time together. Let's actually work on this relationship we have going on, just like we would with any other relationship. We have to spend time together." Well, most people are totally avoiding themselves and they're going outside themselves to find who am I? right? They want validation, they want approval. They're just, they're numbing, they're distracting, whatever, because they're not actually going to the source, going to who they are and asking, what do you need? What are you afraid of? How do you want to show up? Like, asking our inner self, connecting with our inner child, the protector part, and saying, what do you need? How can I support you? And then also really getting connected to that real deep inner self, right? The divine part of us, and saying, what am I here to do? What am I here to, how am I here to live? Who am I here to be? Who do I want to be? And then actually taking advice from that inner guide, not the people around us.
Mhm. It's
That's
the
when
greatest.
everything shifts.
It
Yeah,
is, everything shifts. And it's what allows the truth of who and what you truly are to come online. And that's the self you're speaking to, not the identity of Lindley Rose, but the created creation of creator.
gets deep.
It is.
And I've noticed that many of us on this journey are maybe sometimes we get into a little fear around the depth that we discover when we go into ourselves. And we go, this is a little scary. It's a little too deep. I kind of want to fit in. I want to be like everyone else. I don't want to be different. I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to, like have this weird idea of, and we have these like self-judgments about even connecting with ourselves, this resistance. And then we just want to be like everyone else. So I myself have gone back and forth between, I'm going to pretend that this didn't happen, that I'm not actually on a transformation journey, and that I'm just like a normal person like everyone else. And I used to really kind of just deny that this is actually happening. And I would want to just show up normal so that no one thinks anything of me. I'm just blend in, right? And I realized that it was that thing that was causing me to want to hide my journey. That was actually that opponent, the resistance to my light being seen, so that I could then connect with and attract and resonate with other people who were also going on a similar journey. But first, I had to own that it was actually happening. I had to accept, like, yes, I'm actually having a transformation. I can't deny it anymore. And I'm going to now come out and I'm going to say, yes, this is the true me. I've gone through some really hard things and I have lots of courage and I've done really hard things. And there were parts of me that didn't want to be so big and intense. And I felt like it was like maybe a little too much. Maybe the normal people aren't really gonna like understand me now, and they're gonna think I'm weird. And I just wanted to fit in. And I didn't want, I just didn't want something negative, like a negative response to me. But then just realizing, wow, the more that I share it, it's actually resonating. I'm finding soul family, people that actually get it because they have gone through it too. And I just had an amazing connection with someone that found me on Instagram. And she's French. She grew up here in Paris area. And we had coffee and we just met and she's been on a journey just like I have. And it's like we spoke the same language. And as we were talking, everything faded around us. And it was just me and her. And it's like we just totally understood each other and we were like in support of each other and loved each other and just wanted to, be a supportive person for each other.
Extraordinary. And isn't it interesting how the mind, the small mind, thinks it will settle for the illusion of safety in numbers
Mm.
because of the fear of that awakening that happens because it's like you said, it's deep. And a lot of times we don't want to go there because we don't know where we're going to end up because it's so unfamiliar. It's so new and it's uncomfortable to start like being in the energy of that vibrational life force energy when you're not like experienced with it. It's like, and you don't feel like you have anything to relate to other than the very thing that keeps you alive. So fantastic, though. It's so fantastic. Because now, how do you feel letting yourself, because last week it was like a fear of standing out, right?
Mhm.
Letting yourself stand out.
Yeah, and
Just
it's like,
found you on Instagram, not for fitting in.
and it's still not that I want to stand out. It's still like the energy feels for me like it's not like I have a desire to go get on a stage and be in front of all these people. I still don't. I don't want get on the metro hoping that I'm going to stand out, but
You're not trying not to stand out, which is
letting myself stand out if I do.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
letting
That's
it
the
happen.
just
Yeah.
letting yourself be who you are, whether you stand out in some areas or not. The fact that you're not trying to not stand out
Yes.
is allowing you to have this completely different experience and a completely different perspective, and to be felt and seen by those who resonate with who you're being.
Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. Yeah, I just had this whole revelation as you're speaking that it's like a lot of this is that I have in my mind that I'm going to stand out and everyone's going to notice me, but the reality is that when we are in alignment with ourselves, a lot of people will still not notice you because they are not tuned in to your frequency. They're going to just walk right past you and you'll be like invisible to them. And, but the right people will notice you. The right people that are meant to, maybe it's people that are just meant to notice you and then move on about their day. And maybe you're just a vague memory that they had of, oh, there was someone smiling today. And there's going to be people that you have a conversation with and you're meant to go a little deeper. And then there's those who you're going to connect with and you're going to be like soul family. But the right people will notice you. And I think so often, me as well as clients that I've worked with that are these beautiful lights that I see, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful and amazing and have this amazing light. And they are like, have this fear of everyone's going to be looking at them and they want to hide. And we really think that when we let our light shine, everyone's going to notice us. But the reality is, no, it's only those that are meant to notice us that will. It's not like we have to go stand on a stage and every single person sees us. You're just stop hiding so you can attract the right people and let that happen.
Yeah. And if you could really unpack what hiding does versus just letting yourself be seen. And that this is really it's a thing for you that other people can benefit from if and when they do. But the aliveness that you get to experience is such an affirming way to show yourself love without trying to love yourself, or an affirming way to acknowledge your worth and your value without trying to prove your worth and your value.
Yeah, and this comes always back to our relationship with ourselves and how I notice where I have been holding myself back. What are those thoughts where I think people will think something negative of me? You know, that self-consciousness, even going to these meetup groups that I've been to lately. There's one that where we have these deep talks, and I am in a small group setting, and I used to be extremely uncomfortable in small groups. Um, I just felt like if I start talking, what are people going to think of me? I mean, I just can't believe like this is literally like this has been my journey. And I know other people can relate, not everyone, but just thinking I probably am taking too much time. I don't want to share what I really feel, how will this be perceived? Will people think I'm talking too much and just not wanting to talk at all? And in this group setting, the energy is so, it's just so comforting and so open. The people there are there to really just be real and drop the mask. That's the whole intention of the space. I just can't believe I discovered this place like my first week here, my second week here. It's incredible. But it's just a whole new experience being able to be in that space and to speak and to share my journey when I feel called and to listen to others and to just notice my own internal process and how that voice is quieting more and more and how
Mhm.
I'm more and more present with what's happening and present with my heart and my true self. And it's not so much anymore this, what are they going to think? And all that, the chatter of my mind of trying to fit in and that protective part. Now it's really just noticing that I've shifted in a dramatic way where I can show up and be me and I don't have a ton of chatter in the background anymore.
It's so interesting how much this just is such a great demonstration of moving to scarcity into abundance. Moving from, I need something outside of me in order to feel comfortable, and making it all about me, right? Very self-aware, self-conscious, but not in a way that's producing anything or contributing to anything, and then going into that state of abundance, having that shift in perception, and then now it's like this free flow coming through you, and you're contributing, you're actually adding to life instead of going and trying to take something for your own edification or validation, right? Like it's just so incredible the shift that can happen instantly when you go from that one state of being to that other state of being and all that's available. It's like full access to life force, to connection, to synergy.
I love how you describe it as it's really two states of being. It's the small self, and then it's the divine, large, capital S self that's connected to everything, the abundance, right? The divine, the light, where we don't have to try to be liked or to get approval. We just have to be, and we're perfect and beautiful exactly as we are in our full expression. That state of being. That when we had this conversation last week, I love when you said that because it really helped me to just make the shift in my mind where every time I walk out the door, I'm choosing to be in the capital self. What do we want to call that? The true self, the divine self,
True identity, divine identity, it's the truth. It's synonymous with all of those words. Truth, peace, love, God, abundance, all that
bliss.
is bliss, joy,
Yeah, that's it.
alignment.
That's it. Yeah. And when I write a post and I'm expressing it, it's all those words just come out of me. It's like because it's all the same energy. And having now connected with that, because like 10 years ago, I didn't know what that felt like. But now that I've practiced and gotten really close with myself and asked myself like who am I? How do I feel? How do I want to feel? All those questions to get to know myself and like expanded that relationship with myself. Now I know what that feels like. And it just goes through my whole body. And that's how I feel on our call and my calls with my clients, where and I've always felt that from 10 years ago. I had the experience without realizing what was happening, where source energy is flowing through me and I'm being that presence for another human and witnessing them and mirroring and just holding that space. And that is so different than I don't feel good about myself. I want to shrink. I want to hide. I don't want people to notice me. I don't have anything of value to offer. And I've worked with clients who have just gone on the same journey I have. And I'm just realizing that this is a huge piece and it feels like a big part of my work is to help people to get out of that small self that's just not the truth. It's a false version that's actually causing them to not share their true light with the world. It's like they're in a little bottle, there's a lid, and until we remove the lid and let it shine, then we're just gonna stay in our own little corner of the world and not affect anyone in a positive way. But the world needs us. We need each other. And that's why we're here to connect in this way. Those of us on this journey, we really do need to expand into that bigger version of who we are, into the abundance.
Yeah, always. There's not like this expand into a bigger version and then you're there because there's always more, always more. And part of the journey is the expansion into more.
Mm, hmm.
Expansion into more truth, expansion into more of what we love, expansion into more contribution, impact, love. It's not finite. There's no limit. It's infinite.
So when we think about the two versions, we could choose to be the small one, or we could choose to be the one that is expanding
Yeah.
and know that it actually keeps getting better. You keep becoming more of yourself. You keep discovering new parts of you, of what you're meant to do on this planet, and being more of you. That's the infinite expansive journey.
Yeah, and we're going to move between the states unknowingly and knowingly because we have free will to do that. However, once we become like yourself, and more people are becoming more aware of the contrast so that it's undeniable when you're in your small self and it's undeniable when you're in your large self. And then you get to have the power to choose to be in the truth. And you have the power to choose to be in the other, but eventually, when you start to really experience how amazing it is and how connected you are and how alive you feel, and you start to feel safe and stable and coherent in that energy, then it's almost it's as if for me, like I slip back into that state because I have misread the circumstances as true and allowed those circumstances to impact me rather than impacting the circumstances. And then just knowing that I'm there and how constricting it feels smaller each time I go there, but it's also familiar. And then just having some ability to be able to be like, that's not true
Mhm. Yeah.
because
It's
it's
like,
not a one and done. We're shifting between all these states.
yeah. And just like noticing like what do we gain from being in the small self? And that,
Appreciation for being in the big self. There is a benefit to it, right? It's like falling asleep and waking up, falling asleep and waking up. I believe that we're here to experience the contrast
yeah.
because if it was always light all the time, then it loses some of its grandeur because we're not, it's almost like if it was daytime all the time, like maybe if we
Mhm.
moved like far enough north, it's
Yeah.
daytime all the time, we are human beings and we will take it for granted. We will take for granted things because they
Yeah.
become normal. So the contrast keeps us in
Mhm.
that alive state, like, oh, I get to choose this again. Fell
That's
asleep, I get to
why,
wake up
yeah,
again.
that's why shame is just something that we don't need to have be a part of this whole journey because we are constantly going to go back. We're going to feel like we're going backwards into the small self. And I love our conversations, you and I, Jessica, because in our talks on and off the podcast, we can just let ourselves be seen and just admit, yeah, like I actually was in my small self there. And that was just what I fell back into. And then we can remind each other, wait, but that's not who you really are. And just to know that because some of my clients have felt, oh no, that means that there's something wrong with me. And they fall into this story that there's something wrong with me and I can't do this work and it's hard for me and why haven't I healed yet? And feeling shame. And it's just remembering that this is actually just something that we can move in and out without shame. and we can experience a contrast and we can choose. I really feel like that's so important to remember that you can choose to feel small if that's what you want to do. If you want to make a choice from your small self, you can. And there's no shame and there's no blame. And you can literally just make that choice. But then you may decide that that was not what you wanted. And you can then make a different choice to come back into a fuller version of yourself. And there even may be years, a span of a year where at the beginning of someone's journey, really experimenting and exploring who they are, different kinds of states of being, they may get into that small version for months, right? You may be working at a certain kind of a job or being around certain kinds of friends that cause you to feel just not fully you, like a lower version of yourself, a suppressed version. And maybe you're wearing a mask. A lot of kids and teens in their 20s and stuff, they're wearing masks, or even in entire relationships, right? Where you're having a relationship with someone that is just not conducive to you being your full self. And guess what? There's no shame in that. You can literally just say, hey, I just did that, and this is how it felt. And now I'm going to make a different choice. I can choose something totally different. I can choose to connect with myself deeper, ask myself who I really am, what I really want, let the mask fall, choose to show up, choose to go to a meetup where you're being real and taking steps towards being authentic. And it's that energy of being in your real self, your true self, your divine self. That is what attracts circumstances that resonate with that in our lives. Maybe the right relationship comes in, maybe an opportunity comes in, but it's all about our internal state of being, and we get to choose that.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think it's important to say that even though we do maybe lose our true self or inhabit our smaller self for a relationship or a career choice or for whatever it might be, it's not like we've lost time. And I think it's really important because I used to have this belief that, oh, I've lost this much time, I'm this much older. And then I would start to beat myself up for that. But when I really discovered what it feels like to be all in for no matter what, like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, like you get to benefit from all of those experiences to inform you and reinstate, like so that you will have more experience and more maturity and a higher level of consciousness making this choice, whatever choice this is, and that you benefit from all of those experiences. There's no wrong turn or U-turn. Like you said, it's an illusion to go backwards because we literally can't go back. We can in our mind. And that's what shows us, are we in our mind about this? Are we in our state of being about this, to your
Yeah.
point?
I want to just bring in an example here because, we talk about these concepts. It can be kind of hard to apply them sometimes. But for anyone listening, I had a conversation with someone about she really wants to travel abroad. And there may be other people that have been watching my journey that feel the same. And they're like, well, I don't want to be in my life. I want to be doing what she's doing. And, we see these examples of people living the life we want to live. And I just want to bring up just a point that I shared with her, which was that it's our internal state of being, like what we were just talking about, that actually is what affects our circumstances. And so noticing how we're living in our life. Maybe it's the life that we know we're going to move on from. Maybe we don't want to be in a certain house or a certain place. Maybe we're starting to feel like your life's boring or there's just not a lot of excitement. Maybe the marriage, whatever it is just not bringing you fulfillment. Maybe you think, oh, if I lived in this life, then I would feel different and all these things would change. And yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to get my passport and I need to live this life. But the reality is, we have to, whatever our energy is, that is going to stay with us. It's like our energetic set point. So if we are naturally in a low vibration, looking at all the things that we don't like, and then we come into it, maybe a new relationship, and we start to feel like we're falling in love, and we start to feel really good at the beginning. Or you move to Paris and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. That fades away. The initial fades away. And after a while, you come back to your normal energy of how you are, your like state of being. And if you're a person who knows how to create joy within by connecting with that energy within you, then you will do that everywhere you go and whatever relationship you're in. But we have to be that now, even before the relationship, even before the move or the trip or whatever, because the relationship is going to reflect our state of being. If we want to be in that higher level relationship that actually lasts, we have to create that within ourselves first. Be the person who we want to be when we're in the relationship.
And we
Yeah.
get to create that. And it's imperative that we create it because if we don't, and then we make an assumption that that place or that person or that house or that job is responsible for this joy, then we're going to become dependent on that. And we're going to want to hold on to that even if it becomes no longer true too.
Yes. Yes. And I feel that as I've gone into these experiences where I've said goodbye to certain people and the relationship and the guy that I was in a relationship with before, then my happiness was 100% not dependent on him at all. It was just, is this going to align with my energy? And it wasn't aligning anymore. And so I let it go and I continued to actually be who I am and connect with all these other people. Like so many other people came in after that. And they're people that are resonating with my energy. So it's like I didn't really like I didn't lose something. I gained experience, I gained more people, and it's not the way that we used to see things. It's not, oh my gosh, this person and I'm never going to see them again. No, like we're all just on our own journey and we can let go of people and move on and the right people come in.
Absolutely. And it's a state, like you said, it's a state of being. It's a state of being that we can get trapped in on focusing on what we've lost and what we didn't do or what happened to us. All of that. It's just a completely different state of being. Again, coming into abundance rather than scarcity and knowing the nuanced way of feeling into it and the discerning of these subtle energies as soon as they start to take hold, we become like spellbound by them. And because of they have this lull of familiarity, our willingness to be awake enough, aware enough to recognize becomes a choice. Am I going to let myself fall into that? And I'm no stranger to that. It's happened in my own life. And it's like we get to decide how long we're going to stay there. But the more we get into the spell of it, the more familiar it becomes and the more it seems like reality. And it's also a way of playing small and dimming our light. So the recognition of it is so key. And then the choice that we make the moment we recognize it.
Mm,
You are demonstrating what it's like to just move on through it. I'm sure that you let yourself feel what you needed to feel when it was coming up. You're not gaslighting, ghosting, and bypassing yourself, right? You're just like, okay, this happened. You give it reverence and you become who you've allowed yourself to become because of it
yes.
and take that with you into now.
Yeah, honoring it. That's really how I felt. Like I felt like I had to honor it. That's so important to just mention. Just honor the significance of it, the power of it, the beauty of it, and everything that it brought me in my life. I mean, it was just like one of those experiences that was just so powerful for me personally. And then notice like if I feel like, anything that comes up from my small self of, well, why didn't it last? Or like, why didn't he like show up for you? And like, it's because you're not good enough. All those things, I can just say, hey, thanks. I love you to myself. And then we're moving forward. And the evidence of that is real because the people that have come in since then is just unbelievable. Like the quality of people that match my vibration. And and then you just don't attach. You just don't attach to, oh, then I met someone who's perfect for me, and then now we have to like be best friends. But then sometimes that can shift too, and you can find out that at first this person really aligned, but maybe we're going in different directions now, and you can let go. There's no like attachment to anything. It's just a constant awareness of what's in alignment with who I am, what I want in the quality of relationships and the depth and, like the kinds of people I want around, believing that I'm worthy of what I want and letting go of what's not in alignment with that.
Yeah, and so a woman that I recently met named Sandra Kellogg introduced me to this concept of radical self-loyalty. And I think it's really important that we become familiar with this term because especially for those of you who are on a exponential growth journey and you're like you want the more and the more and the more and the more and you're just like going to the heights that you can possibly attain in this level, expanding your level of consciousness and accessing these new territories that are become available to us, is that if we're not radically self-loyal, we may unconsciously become loyal to something or someone that will become a barrier to us continually expanding and not making it wrong because exponential growth requires a lot of newness, and there are many of us now, more and more of us who are on this journey, and if we try to fit ourselves into something that isn't on that trajectory, then I mean, there's no prize at the end for saying, oh, you stayed with someone to be kind and nice and you forsake your own growth.
Mhm.
Here's the prize for that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like radical self-loyalty. We don't stay just because of what it looks like
Mhm.
or to avoid being seen as bad or wrong or giving up or quitting or whatever. It's like no one knows what's driving each one of us towards more. And when we're doing it, personal responsibility, I'm personally responsible for my intentions and my impact and what I'm allowing myself to receive and experience. But if we stay for any other reason other than that self-loyalty, which we're talking about really basing it on the truth and all of the things that, Lindley and I stand for, is that's a very honoring, a very sacred act. And it doesn't have to make sense to anyone else.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And when we talk about self-loyalty and what that really is God loyalty, divine loyalty.
Capital S self.
Yeah, universe loyalty,
The
right? Yeah.
truth, right? It's the truth. We're being loyal to the truth, not the falsity of not the what it looks like,
Yeah.
the appearance.
And to just take this a little bit deeper really quickly, there's a little thing I want to share from that David Guillaume shared in one of his podcast episodes recently, where he talked about how he's one of my teachers and has brought so much amazing just wisdom into my path that has allowed me to expand and grow. So I'm so grateful for him coming into my life when he did. And he shared that we're on this path of wanting more, right? But it's actually not the word more that we want, it's that we want all. We want to We want all that is. We are actually here to be like the creator. We are here to emulate the creator. The creator is all. So we actually get to have all, and having that intention of I'm here for all. It's a very deep spiritual principle, but it can be really expansive just to meditate on that.
Well, it is working through me right now. I have goosebumps throughout my whole body. They're continual. I can feel a resonance of expansion and excitement that's also like really grounded. And I watch his stuff occasionally. I hadn't caught that one. So that really lands for me. And it makes perfect sense that we're here to allow ourselves to be so free to experience all that is in alignment with divine. And
Mm.
it's so different from the energy that like you were talking about when you were afraid of being seen, right? Like let's just pull the
Mhm.
contrast into this so that we can all like experience that. Like we're not here for the all when we're trying to be liked and approved of and not offend anyone and please other people and forsake ourselves for the acceptance of another. That is not what this is giving us access to.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about all that is, it's like you're really raising yourself up to a level of divinity, of love, of light, where when you see someone on the metro, like for example, I'm not thinking, oh, what are they going to think of me? Oh, I'm like, do they notice me? Like, what do they think of my hair? No, like, I'm not having those thoughts, right? I'm in a state of, I can see you and I love you. I can see it. We're all on a journey. That's that came online for me that I was able to see people. As soon as I connected with this self, this higher self, I could suddenly see, oh my gosh, I want to share something. I was on, everything happens for a reason. So I'm always just like feeling grateful and going into, oh wow, this is happening. Thank you. Thank you for whatever this is. And I sat down next to this girl on a metro, and she was in this kind of a negative energy space. I couldn't really tell at first, but I didn't really mind. I sat down next to her because I actually am not affected by other people when I'm in this state, when I'm connected to the light. I'm not affected. I'm affecting. I'm not affected.
The
Okay.
greatest form of protection we don't even need, by the
Yeah,
way.
exactly. We used to think that you need to protect yourself and wear all the crystals and everything, right? It's like a step on the journey. No, if you're the light, you don't need any protection. Okay, so I'm sitting there and I'm noticing her, and she's doing something. Her hair was wet, and then maybe there was something in her hair, and she's going like this, and it's kind of like mad, and she was like, moving around like she was angry about something. Then she starts talking to the guy standing in front, and now I realize they're together, and she starts being in this kind of like negative place. She's obviously upset with him. And he's talking back to her. I didn't know what they were saying because they're speaking French and I couldn't understand it. And then she speaks to him and she's even like more angry. And then he's like trying to like help her like feel a little bit more calm. And then she gets even more angry. And there's a point where she's raising her voice and the whole metro car is like turning and looking. She's causing a scene. And I happen to sit down right next to her. And as I'm sitting there and I'm feeling into her energy, I instead of judging her like maybe I did in a past self, I just had so much compassion and love, knowing that she's going through something really hard right now. That's what's causing her behavior. And I set the intention to just help everything to resolve for her. Like everything, I just want it all to resolve so that my presence, whatever she's feeling for me, that she can just go throughout her day and actually feel a level of calm and peace and just settle. And I just sent that attention to her and just held that compassionate, loving space for her as I just sat there. I wasn't looking at her, and I actually imagined putting my hands on her. but I didn't. I just imagined like though that feeling of I just want to help her feel calm. And then she left with the guy. Actually, there was a stop. She got off. She was so mad. She got off really fast, said something mean to him, stood there while the doors are open, and then she got back on. Like she was gonna like leave. She was threatening to leave because she was so mad. And she was like having this tantrum kind of thing going on. She's an adult, probably in her late 20s. And so it's like when we're in the all, we can hold space for other people to feel whatever they're feeling and let it be okay. We don't have to change them. We don't have to save them. We can just really hold space for them with love and compassion and let them feel what they're feeling. And we can send them love and wish them well. And just in our lives, if we're feeling into that, like our intention is to be the all, we can
How
let
much
people
more we
have
can
that.
contribute. How much more we can contribute just by being in the all without any effort, without any saving, rescuing, fixing, changing, just the state of being alone that is aware of the allness it inhabits and receives from, that can come through and literally raise the vibration and have an impact on people around us just by allowing ourselves to inhabit what already feels good and true and easeful within our own system. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to surrender into that state because the mind wants to control things or
Mm.
stop someone else from escalating so we don't have to be in discomfort. But just by like practicing that so that you can effortlessly access it at will is
Mm.
such a gift,
And
such a
how would the world change if I had known this at the beginning of my motherhood journey, or if everyone knew this, right? When their fathers, mothers, how much fathers and mothers, you know, they don't want their kids to feel the tantrum, whatever's happening with the kid, and they needed to stop and thereby giving their kids the message that it's not okay to feel what's happening. And now that there's something wrong with them for feeling this emotion that's flowing through them that they can't control. And then now I can't, there's something wrong with me. And now I have mental issues, and people grow up thinking they have mental illness because their parents did not know how to hold space for their emotions and show them that they're okay feeling whatever they're feeling and there's nothing wrong with them. And just to have that calm presence with kids, of how much we need to do that.
yeah. And we can do that by having a calm presence with ourselves.
Yeah, that's
I
the only
shared
way.
that my daughter and I had a conflict the other day, which is a very rare occurrence. And I was able to see that it wasn't about her. It was my inability in that moment to hold myself. But because of the nature of the conversation, my nervous system responded to it. And I took that to be that I wasn't safe. And it was like some PTSD came in and took over. So even like, 30 years of doing this work, 20 years of teaching it professionally, we don't move beyond this human experience. And to, instead of making myself guilty or shaming myself or neglecting her experience altogether, this work isn't about avoiding those situations. It's about learning from them.
Mm.
And we can show up now. Like it's never too late to learn this stuff, right? We're learning it at exactly the right time for us. Our ability to hold this information is at the capacity it's at now so that we can hold this information where yes, it would have been nice to have it as early moms, as early daughters. I mean, and the light of it can make as much of a significant difference now as we imagine it could have
Yeah, yeah, just forgiving ourselves, letting ourselves be in our journey wherever we're at, and that it's all okay. And that, yeah, even like with my kids, I tell my clients this, and I also really feel that as we heal, our kids are healing too, and they're shifting. Our relationship with them is shifting, and it's whatever it is in the present. The past is in the past. We can let go of the past, but their experience of us is the present. And so as we show up in this a higher level of ourselves, then that's all that matters.
There's a resonance that is unseen, that is a healing, supportive, aligning energy. And it's like there is no past. It's only up here. There's no matter in the past. There's no substance in the future. It's only here. The substance of all supply, this omnipresent substance, is only available here. And when we go into our head, we can imagine the way that we imagine the past happening, but it changes too. Each time we imagine the past, it changes.
Yeah.
So this is like a really great way for us to see, like, am I in my head or am I in where my state of being can be
Hmm.
impactful,
And
contributing way.
yeah, and I love having this podcast episode space with you because as I'm in Paris, I just decided that I'm going to share what's real, what's really coming up, what's arising, and then whatever's arising, and trusting that whatever's arising is what's meant to be shared for whoever is listening and for me to just process through my real experience and just to see where things go and how the conversation takes us and the lessons that we're learning and how and what we're sharing here, that the right people will be in the place where they receive those lessons. And that's where they're at on their journey. And that's my intention, just that the right people hear this, that they receive the truths that they're meant to hear and incorporate and integrate into their life. And then we just continue to show up, you and I, here in our own lives together, but just real noticing what is arising in the moment. And that's all we have to do.
How freeing is that? And what's really so cool is that this is being recorded. And so whoever sees it now that is receiving it in a beneficial way. And then in a future now moment, because of the way that consciousness expands, we're all developing in our own unique way. And there's no right or wrong way. It's just this developmental process. And when we can respect our own developmental process and each other's own developmental process, like this is going to be archived and people are going to be able to see it 10, 20, 30, 50, 90, who knows how many years from now. This is always going to be a relevant conversation.
Yeah. And I just wanted to remind anyone listening that hmm, you have permission to do the same. You have permission to show up in your truth with whatever's arising for you in that moment, the real lessons, and just be completely authentic. Don't try to share what you think people want to hear. Just share what's real and showing up in your authenticity and on your journey is going to attract the right people that are meant to learn from you. And so getting out of our own little shame bubble of thinking, oh, I can't share and I'm hiding a little small self can really just help us to expand ourselves and so that we can now be in service to humanity by just sharing our real vulnerable journey. So
Yeah, permission received. That's something I have definitely still noticed myself is sometimes I think it's too intense, like you've shared, like it's too intense when I'm experiencing, or I need to have it more grounded. I have to have it more integrated before I can discuss it. And that's a safety mechanism for myself. And I'm committed to this resonance, vulnerability, authenticity, allowing. And that's such a way too, like we were talking about earlier, is affirming where you are right now is a loving act. It's a radical self-loyal act, and it really can make a difference in someone's life,
Yeah.
or many, or
Yeah. And I say this because I really do see when I work with my clients, I do see that they have so much to offer and so much to share, and that they're just not at the point where they're ready to share it yet, but that I can see that I want them to. Like, I want to learn from them. I want the other people to hear their story. It's so beautiful, it's so inspiring. And I feel like I'm just speaking to those kinds of people that like are like my clients where they're just not quite ready, but that they will be as they just keep showing up, taking steps little by little, get out of your comfort zone, and just be in service of something greater. Because it's not about how people perceive us anymore. It's really about what are we here to do as part of this human consciousness that we're all a part of.
you know, what's so cool about what you just shared is I have two clients who are both in their 20s who share so openly on their TikTok channels the things that they're learning in our sessions without any question. And I'm like, wow, like it just lights me up so much because they're doing it is such permission. It's like it doesn't have to be polished, it doesn't have to be integrated, it doesn't have to, but just like they're sharing it and they're sharing it and that's strengthening it and it's strengthening them. It's that experiential thing where I don't know if it's a generational thing, but it's like, or a perfection belief where it has to be this before it can be that. So it's just breaking down all the rules
I
and
love
it's
it.
lighting me up so much. And it's just
Yeah.
like, yes. It's extraordinary and it's clean and it's beautiful and it's impactful and they're getting huge followings and it's just like extraordinary to see it happening. Exactly to your point.
Yeah. I'm really coming into the awareness that those of us who are on this journey have a responsibility. We're called to get clear on who we're speaking to, what is the transformation that we personally have been through. Stop hiding it, just own it, and then speak to the people who are also on that same journey and the same transformation, and just speak to them and just share. And I'm starting to do that more and more as well in little videos that I'm going to be posting. But just, I really feel like that's it. That's it.
You're great at it. You're great with that invitational energy. It's a gift to this world.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you and everything that you provide me and your support and your presence and just everything that you contribute on this call. This is incredible. I really am excited to get this episode out. So thank you for joining me, and thanks for everyone who's been listening and watching. You can always follow Jessica and and we're going to put the info in the notes below. And I also have a membership that you can join, Miracle Muse membership, for meditations and reflections and a monthly call. And I would love to see you there. It's really exciting just how we're all coming together and resonating with this energy because we're all going through the same transformations in our lives. So,
Have to do it alone.
yeah, we're here for each other. All right. Thanks so much and have a beautiful day, everyone.